The night the storm arrived in Darvalon City was the same night 17-year-old Arin Hale realized that life does not ask permission before breaking you, it simply decides the moment when your world will be shattered and watches what you choose to become afterward. The sky was an ocean of roaring darkness, lightning carving bright wounds across its belly as if the heavens themselves were angry at the deep, forgotten secrets buried beneath the city streets. Arin ran through the rain-soaked alleys with his worn backpack slapping against his spine, his breath sharp, his pulse loud enough to drown out the thunder, because inside that backpack, hidden beneath a thin layer of clothes, was the object that would change his fate forever. A strangely luminous fragment of obsidian, pulsating faintly like a heartbeat, warm even under the cold rain, humming with a language he did not understand but felt deep in his bones, a piece of something ancient and powerful that he had never intended to find. Earlier that afternoon, he had only wanted a moment alone, a rare escape from the choking tension of home, his father's anger, his mother's silent tears, and the pressure of a life that seemed intent on reminding him that he was born into a world that didn't quite know what to do with him, but fate has a way of planting destiny exactly where it knows you will walk. He had wandered to the abandoned mine on the outskirts of the old industrial district, a place surrounded by rumors of strange noises and vanishing wildlife, a place adults warned kids to avoid but never explained why, as if the truth was too heavy for ordinary conversation. He found the fragment there, resting at the center of a shallow crater deep inside the mine, as if something had fallen from the sky and cracked open the earth just to offer him this impossible secret. The moment his fingers touched it, a piercing whisper spiraled through his consciousness, "Find the keeper before the eclipse," and an image of a towering black figure with burning golden eyes flashed in his mind, so real and vivid that he stumbled backward in shock, believing for a moment he had glimpsed something watching him from another world, something that now knew his name. By the time he ran home, drenched and trembling, the world already felt different. Shadows seemed to stretch toward him, lights flickered when he walked past, and he could feel a subtle vibration beneath his skin, like some dormant part of him had awakened. But home was no sanctuary. His father, enraged after losing another job, threw a bottle against the wall the moment Arin walked in, demanding to know where he had been, why he wasn't helping, why he was always disappearing like some useless ghost, and Arin, exhausted and overwhelmed, had barely managed to mutter an apology before slipping past the argument and locking himself in his room, holding the obsidian fragment against his chest to steady his shaking heart. Then came the knock, not from his father, not from anyone he knew, but from cold metallic fingers tapping against the window. When he turned, he saw them, 3 mechanical sentinels hovering above the street, their spherical bodies marked with glowing crimson runes, their limbs unfolding like sharp claws, scanning the houses one by one as if searching for something, or someone. And the moment they angled toward his window, the fragment in his hand erupted with blinding light, sending a shockwave through the room that shattered his lamp and made the creatures stop midair, their sensors whirring, recalibrating, adjusting to something only they could detect. Panicking, Arin threw his backpack on and climbed out the back window, sprinting into the storm without knowing where to go, only that he needed to run because whatever those machines were, they wanted the fragment, and if they found him, he knew instinctively that he wouldn't live long enough to ask why. As he raced through twisting alleyways, the fragment pulsed faster, almost guiding him, tugging him toward a destination he couldn't see. The alley opened into an old marketplace, now abandoned and swallowed by darkness, the torn tarps swinging wildly in the wind like flagging remnants of forgotten stories. The scent of wet rust and old dust filled the air, and just as Arin slowed to catch his breath, a voice emerged from the shadows, steady, calm, and unsettlingly familiar. "You weren't supposed to find it yet," the voice said, and from the darkness stepped a tall woman draped in a long raincloak, her silver hair plastered against her face, her eyes glowing softly like twin lanterns in the night. Arin stumbled backward, gripping his backpack, ready to run again, but she raised her hand in a gesture of peace. "If you keep running blindly, they will kill you before sunrise," she warned, glancing toward the rooftops where the sentinels were closing in. "But if you come with me, I can tell you what that fragment is, and why it chose you." Before he could respond, a shriek split the sky. One of the sentinels spotted him, its body unfolding into a deadly array of spinning blades. The woman grabbed him by the wrist with surprising strength and pulled him toward a crumbling stairwell leading underground, urging him to move faster as the machine fired a concentrated beam of red energy that sliced through a metal support beam inches from Arin's head. They crashed into a hidden bunker beneath the marketplace just as the entrance exploded behind them, sealing them in darkness lit only by the fragment's eerie glow. Arin gasped for air, his chest burning, but the woman watched him with an expression that was not fear but recognition. "You are the last Hale," she whispered. "The bloodline of the first Watcher. And now the world will hunt you until the eclipse unless you learn to awaken what sleeps inside you." Arin's mind spun with questions. What bloodline? What Watcher? Why him? What was this eclipse? But before he could speak, the fragment lifted itself from his backpack, floating between them as the air thickened with ancient power. The woman placed her hand over it, and the room filled with swirling visions, towering obsidian towers rising above ruined landscapes, armies of shadow marching beneath a fractured moon, and at the center of it all, a monstrous silhouette wearing a crown of living flame, its golden eyes staring directly at Arin. He stumbled back as the vision faded, trembling violently, tears mingling with rain on his cheeks. "That," the woman said quietly, "is the Shadow King. And the fragment you carry is the first seal, the key to binding or unbinding him when the eclipse comes. Your ancestors sealed him centuries ago, but the seals have weakened. The machines you saw are his hunters, and they can smell the seal on you." Arin felt his heart collapse inward. He was just a boy who wanted a quiet place to breathe, not a chosen savior or guardian of some ancient cosmic prison. Yet as impossible as it all sounded, the fear in the woman's voice was real, the visions had felt painfully real, and the threat of the sentinels above reminded him that denial would not protect him. "Why me?" he finally whispered. The woman stepped closer, her expression softening. "Because destiny does not choose those who are ready," she said. "It chooses those who must rise, even when they don't believe they can." As Arin stood in the dim bunker, soaked, terrified, and carrying a destiny he neither understood nor wanted, he felt something shift inside his chest, a small spark, defiant and fragile, but unmistakably alive. He didn't know what he would become or whether he could face the horrors waiting in the dark future ahead. But he knew one thing with painful clarity: running was no longer an option. The seal had awakened, the world had changed, and whatever awaited him in the next chapter of this chaotic journey, he would have to face it head on, no matter the cost. The bunker walls trembled as the storm above intensified, each thunderclap echoing like a warning from the heavens, and Arin felt the weight of everything pressed down on him, not just the darkness of the underground chamber, not just the fear of the machines hunting him, but the horrifying realization that his life had been rewritten in the span of a single night, that he was no longer simply a boy struggling to survive in a broken home but the unwilling bearer of an ancient seal capable of awakening a cosmic terror. The woman, who introduced herself as Saris Vaylor, the last surviving keeper of the old order, guided him deeper into the hidden tunnels, her footsteps confident despite the darkness, as if she had memorized every twist of this underground labyrinth. The fragment floated between them like a guiding lantern, its faint pulse now synchronized with the beating of Arin's own heart, which unsettled him more than he dared admit. "Before we go any further," Saris said in a low voice that carried both wisdom and sorrow, "you must understand what has awakened inside you. The seal is not simply an object, it is a living fragment of ancient power, bonded to your bloodline, feeding on your energy, growing stronger as you accept your role." Arin swallowed hard, trying to steady his breath, because every step deeper into this secret world felt like stepping further away from the life he had once known, and he wasn't sure if he could ever return, even if he wanted to. His mind drifted to his mother, her tired eyes, the quiet strength she carried, her gentle voice that had always tried to soften the harshness of his father's anger. Would she be worried right now? Would she be searching for him? Or had she assumed, as always, that Arin had gone to escape the chaos of home? A surge of guilt stabbed through him, but he forced it down. He needed to survive the night before he could think of home. As they reached a cavern lit by flickering blue crystals embedded in the stone walls, Saris finally stopped. "This place," she said, "is one of the last sanctuaries of the old order. When the Shadow King began corrupting the world centuries ago, our ancestors built these chambers to protect the seals. But time decayed everything, and only one seal remains intact." Arin stepped closer to the glowing crystals, feeling the warmth radiating from them. "If there were more seals," he whispered, "where are they now?" Saris hesitated, her gaze flickering with pain. "Shattered, stolen, lost. The machines you saw are powered by fragments of the broken seals, they are echoes of the Shadow King's magic, twisted into weapons. That is why they hunted you the moment the seal awakened." Arin shivered. The idea that those terrifying machines contained pieces of something so ancient and powerful made everything feel even more threatening. Saris continued, "The seal you carry is the heart seal, the one that binds the Shadow King's essence. If it breaks, the eclipse will not just be darkness. It will be annihilation. Arin's pulse quickened as he asked, you mentioned the eclipse. What exactly is it? Saris closed her eyes, her voice heavy with grief. Every 1,000 years, the 3 moons of this realm align in perfect symmetry, creating a celestial window where the boundary between worlds weakens. During that alignment, the Shadow King can cross into the mortal realm unless the heart seal is present to restrain him. Without the seal, his power will spill into our world like poison, devouring the air, the sky, the earth, everything. Arin took a step back, overwhelmed. So you're saying the entire world is depending on me? His voice cracked, frustration swirling with fear. Saris placed a steady hand on his shoulder. Not just the world, countless realms. The Shadow King is not bound to a single dimension. His hunger stretches across universes. But listen carefully, your destiny is not to face him alone. Your role is to find the remaining fragments of the old order, awaken the slumbering powers of your bloodline, and locate the one who can guide you, the Lost Keeper. The fragment in Arin's bag pulsated as if reacting to the name, sending a tremor through the cavern. The Lost Keeper, Arin echoed, confused. Who is that? Saris's eyes darkened. A child born with the same gift as you, the ability to see through the planes of existence. But she disappeared years ago during the fall of the towers. Some believe she died, others believe she was taken. Arin felt a pull in his chest, an instinctive tug that felt almost like recognition, though he had never met this Lost Keeper. And you think she can help me? Saris nodded. She must. Because without her, you will never be able to use the seal to its full strength. The two of you are mirrors, your powers amplify each other, just as your ancestors once did when they united to imprison the Shadow King. Arin's breath hitched. The idea of another like him, someone who understood this overwhelming burden, sparked a flicker of hope. But it was immediately smothered by the sound of distant metallic screeches echoing through the tunnels. Saris cursed under her breath. They found the outer gate. We need to move, now. Arin's adrenaline surged as she grabbed his hand, racing through narrow passageways carved into the earth, the glow of the crystals fading behind them. The tunnels grew hotter, the air thick and heavy. The deeper they ran, the louder the fragment hummed, as if it sensed danger. The ground shook violently as an explosion tore open one of the entrances, showering them with debris. The sentinels descended, slicing through rock and steel with mechanical precision, their eyes glowing a murderous red. Saris conjured a barrier of shimmering energy, her hands weaving luminous threads of ancient magic, but the machines slammed against it with explosive force, cracks radiating through the shield-like spiderwebs. Arin, she shouted, her voice strained. The seal, focus your mind on the seal, command it to protect you. Arin froze. I don't know how. Just do it, she yelled as the barrier splintered. Terrified but desperate, Arin clasped the seal with both hands. It blazed with light, flooding his vision with images, his ancestors chanting in ancient tongues, the Shadow King roaring from a prison of fire, the sky fracturing under the eclipse. Then the vision shattered, replaced by a surge of power coursing through his veins like lightning. He screamed as the seal unleashed a shockwave, a dome of brilliant white energy erupting outward, obliterating the sentinels in a blinding flash. Dust and debris swirled around him. The cavern floor trembled. When the light faded, Arin collapsed to his knees, breathless and shaking, the seal dimming but warm in his hands. Saris knelt beside him, awe and fear mingled in her expression. You awakened the pulse. No Hale has summoned it in generations. Arin's head pounded, pain radiating behind his eyes. I didn't mean to, he whispered. I didn't even know what I was doing. Saris gripped his shoulders. Then you must learn, because that power is only a fraction of what the seal can unlock, and the Shadow King will feel that pulse across dimensions. He now knows exactly where you are. Arin's stomach twisted. So what do we do? Saris rose to her feet, her eyes glowing with fierce determination. We find the Lost Keeper before he sends something worse than machines. She is your key to survival, and perhaps the last hope for every realm. She extended her hand. Stand, Arin Hale. Your journey begins now, not as a runaway boy, but as the bearer of the heart seal. Arin inhaled shakily but took her hand, standing with renewed resolve. He didn't know if he was ready. He didn't know if he could truly stand against a cosmic darkness older than time itself. But he knew this. He couldn't run anymore. The seal had chosen him, and destiny, whether he liked it or not, was already unfolding. Together, they stepped into the next tunnel, unaware that far above them, in the shattered sky beyond mortal sight, the Shadow King opened his golden eyes for the first time in 1,000 years, and smiled.